12 Eclipse E-Racing of Mike Marini out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. I believe the top-ranked Toyota in the field.
Not bad, not bad.
Actually, I might have to correct myself as we go green. I feel like Nickens might also drive a Toyota, obviously relevant given our sponsor tonight here. And anyway, alongside Marini on the front row, or on row 3, will be the 97 of Ty Higginbotham qualifying in 6th. And yeah, we got Mercado leading the field around. And it looks like they're just coming up. I want to say that's turn 3 and 4.
I thought they were actually racing there for a second. They were pacing very fast, it looks like.
Well, I think everybody's just kind of itching to go here.
Yeah. Not surprising.
But we'll find out soon enough. And as they cross, yeah, it looks like we're just here on the second pace lap. So effectively, that'll make the first stage 50 racing laps.
I mean, I don't blame them if they want to try and reduce the laps a little bit, because, I mean, these stage lengths are pretty long. I mean, it's 250 miles, like I believe you said earlier, so I guess might as well tear down the laps. Makes sense.
Yeah, as I say, 52, 49, and 60 are the lengths. 31 laps for a tank of fuel, so we're guaranteed a green flag stop in each of the 3 stages. And, of course, that third stage, 31 laps, could be watching for some fuel at the end, and potentially tire wear if it happens to go that route. And we'll find out soon enough as Mercado leads them around turn 4. And coming up to the straight, we got some speed here, and we got ourselves a race now, ladies and gentlemen, as the Summerside Toyota 250 is officially underway. It looks like Mercado's gotten off to a good start. Trying to hang with him there, I think, is Nickens. Again, Mercado just an absolute bullet off the line. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, they've been going mostly single file thus far. I guess they're just trying to get a bit of a clean start going here. That wouldn't be a surprise at all. But yeah, Jose Mercado gets a terrific start as they're, yeah, it's already looking like they're kind of going a bit of a super speedway single file train right there. But yeah, lap 1 looks to be clean there as Jose Mercado leads the way.
Indeed he does. It's Mercado leading. Nickens is a bit of an early loser here. It looks like he's dropped down to 4th. After starting in 2nd place, it looks like, yeah, that's Jacob Nelson who's moved up into 2nd. Off the hop here, and let's see, I don't think that's Jameson in 3rd. I don't recognize the green. Maybe that's Marini, though. After starting in 5th, he may well be in that ballpark. And trying to get a read on that number, not quite able to do so that time around.
It is Marini.
A little bit of, I think Marini may have done a little bit of wall riding there, and that's going to allow Nickens to get by underneath.
Not anymore.
And so Nickens has moved back up into 3rd as he tries to get back to his original grid slot. Meanwhile, here's Leo Jameson, tucked back in 5th right now. He looks like he might try and have a go at Marini out of 2. Might have a look on the inside line, but not quite close enough to get there. And it looks like we got a bit of a trio here, Marini, Jameson, and Higginbotham. A couple little trios forming early, 4, 5, and 6, trying to catch up to the GTR trio at the head of the field, and it looks like they've done so, with Reggie Kime trying to get onto the back of that train as well, along with Jonathan Peden, and they started 7th and 8th respectively here tonight. And Jameson maybe getting a push from Higginbotham here on the inside line. Might have a run at Marini here for 4th. Meanwhile, Kime getting a little bit loose there behind, but it looks like he's able to hold on. And Marini kind of getting pushed up high here. He's dropping down a couple of positions from where he was, but certainly a little bit higher up the board than some of the drivers around that kind of cutoff line. Obviously very early yet, but still something to watch out for as we check in now on the aforementioned Mike Marini, as it looks like he's dropped down into 8th place by the looks of things. And I said he might not, or might be ahead of some folks. Maybe not. Corbin McCauley, another guy outside the cut line, he's right behind him there in 9th. And it looks like kind of the top 9 have done a little bit of work to separate themselves. Even top 5 separation, then you get 6 through 9. But Marini trying to hold on. I'm sure he's aware of who's behind him. Marini and McCauley have had a little bit of history over the last couple of years as well. But I think everybody's just kind of wanting to keep it clean here so far.
That's no surprise at all. I mean, it's a long race. There's plenty of time to just to adjust to the track, get things going, and just see where your perfect groove is. I mean, yeah, once again, it's 250 miles. There's plenty of time for things to get going. Although at the same time, though, you do have to make sure you keep your car clean, because I mean, for this long of a race, you want to be there. You want to be up there to keep that consistent pace, especially if you're below the cut line with guys like Marini and McCauley. You were saying there, Marini's only a point behind Kai. McCauley's 2 points behind. And then Bob Drew seems to be kind of more towards the back there, with him being -3. And then Tom Janikowski also likely way back there, also -3. You want to make sure you try and gain as many points as possible, especially whenever the stage breaks come around. So that's why green flag pit stops will also be a great strategy. So it looked like there was a bit of a grass moment there from someone. I think Corbin McCauley may have gotten in the wall there on the front stretch.
Yeah, definitely saw the sparks while you were talking. I'm not sure if it was him going through the grass as well. I think those may have been 2 separate incidents, as we check in on Ty Higginbotham now, who's worked his way up into 4th. And you see that lead group of 8 kind of trying to drive away from everybody here
hard
again.
For the lead.
Yeah, let's see what we've got here. Mercado's
swinging.
been the leader the majority, in fact, the entire way. Nelson still tucked in there in 2nd. Jamison 3rd. Higginbotham in 4th. And Reggie Kimes moved up into the top 5. Oh, maybe getting a little bit glitchy there. Not sure if it was my stream or maybe a little bit of lag on their part. But Mercado getting pushed up high.
Oh, boy. Ugh.
Yeah, things starting to get hairy early. As again, we've got that lead group of 8 that's kind of pulled away from everybody right offhand here. As, yeah, Marini's joined that lead group again. So it's McCauley and Darcy Ford in 9th and 10th. And realistically, Riggs are defending Earl Ross Cup champion.
Oh, Jameson swings up high right there. He's going to fall to 4th right there. And it goes up a little bit more. Ty Higginbotham to the inside for 3rd place. It looks like he's going to take it right there. And will they be able to get back single file? No, Jameson looks like he's going to fall all the way back right there. That is not good, losing a couple spots there. He is 25 points above the cut line, but again, though, don't say anything, because again, anything is possible. If he were to end up having a bad finish, that could seriously ruin his points. So just probably should be a little bit careful right there. But again, at the same time, though, he's still up there with the pack by the looks of it. And he looks like he has swung into a spot there, kind of like that super speedway train in a sense. But yeah, other than that, it's just back to single file like usual. There's been a couple of moments back and forth where there's been drivers getting double file and stuff, but so far, nothing major. There hasn't been any cars going around. No one like absolutely slamming the wall, so it's all right so far. But again, that might be a complete broadcaster jinx.
Yeah, they're kind of hanging on so far as we're watching Reggie Kime right now. He's somewhere in that line. Matter of fact, in 8th place. As we were saying, though, a minute ago, like Corbin McCauley and Darcy Ford trying to get to the back of that line. That's 9 and 10 right there. And really, Riggs, our defending Earl Ross Cup champ, Darcy Ford, he's by no means out of the woods here. He's flirting with that cut line here in the round of 12.
Plus the thing, he's that guy with the experience from past seasons, plus that championship. So you can't count him out, because Yeah, during the regular season, it looked like he was on a bit of a slump. He was still getting some good finishes, but come playoff. But in my opinion, I was going through all the average finishes and all that, and just going through all the statistics and stuff, especially from past seasons, like with guys like Darcy Ford, Corbin McCauley, and stuff. And the thing is, like, I personally made a prediction that Darcy Ford would start coming out. He would start blossoming come playoff time with that experience. And thus far, it's looking like it's kind of like that. Again, I don't know if it's on the same level as guys like with Tornado Alley and GTR per se, but I think he's got something in him still. He's still up there being consistent with those finishes, and I think he actually could even, let's say he does make it the round of 8, I think he could even surprise that by that point. Obviously, we probably shouldn't be talking a whole lot right now because it's still obviously very early, but I just wanted to point that out because that experience, I think, could help him possibly start blossoming and start surprising some people in a way.
Yeah, no, I think it would be definitely kind of a foolish errand to potentially count out a defending series champion, certainly, as we continue along here. Looks like Mercado maintains the lead. As we're watching Jonathan Peden now, who's worked his way up into 4th. Of course, last week's winner at Watkins Glen, now a 4-time winner this year, and according to the graphic that was posted on our social media, now the leader in all-time stages 1 with 19 over the last year and a half. So really a testament to the number 53's consistency throughout that time. And really, he's a guy that, sort of like you're alluding to with Darcy Ford potentially for this year, he's a guy who really blossomed once it came playoff time. That's where he picked up his wins.
Well, yes, for sure. But the thing is, though, with all those stats being said, though, it if that championship doesn't come to his grasp come the final round, if he ends up, let's say, like he ends up making it, which is most likely, but like he could still end up losing that championship. If people have him as the favorite, there's still that possibility that he doesn't get that because you know what the way this format is. But yeah, thus far, he's just remaining. At this point, it's more so kind of a trying to keep consistent, still stay up there. Because, I mean, yes, he is plus 42 right now. So, I mean, still getting some good finishes can keep him consistent in terms of pacing, you know. But you just have to keep that in mind, though, that, like, if you have him as the championship favorite, you can't guarantee that necessarily with this format. Which that's not obviously an insult or anything, but it's just the reality of the way things are here. But, of course, I will also have that opinion that I think, yeah, there's no doubt that Peden's just going to continue with these runs and stuff. But that's also the big question, too. Does that suddenly stop at any point? Will he suddenly run into some poor luck at any time? It could happen. You never know. This season's been full of drama, so...
Yeah, no kidding about that, as we will go now to Corbin McCauley's. It looks like that front group's actually gotten a little bit bigger here, unless my eyes are deceiving me. Maybe they're coming up on lap traffic as well.
Yeah, maybe lap traffic. Maybe the green flag runs are kind of... Maybe the green flag pits window is kind of slowly getting its way there, depending on what lap it is.
Yeah, trying to... I was going to say, I'm not 100% sure if my Discord check-in is working here right now, but that's something that's, you know, we can do our best to try and correct. As we will check in, well, we'll stay with that lead group, as a matter of fact. Darcy Ford toward the back of it. Reggie Kime trying to stay at the back of that lead group. Looks like he's fallen off the pace just a little bit, kind of in no man's land back there. Meanwhile, I think Marini and McCauley were just door-to-door there a minute ago as Ford looks for a move on Jameson going into turn 1. And I think he's got him on the inside. Looks like Darcy Ford has made the move. And indeed, he's made it stick. But we'll see if Jameson tries to come back on the inside. He does. Ford getting pushed high. And McCauley and Marini trying to follow. And again, I think... I told you Marini and McCauley had a little bit of history. I think that was them again. And they've both been around since day one.
I mean, they're both below the cut line. They're both in those little 2 spots right there below the cut line. So the tensions could still rise. I mean, we saw what happened with McCauley and Bob Drew the third in the last round. So It just seems to be, it's always something going on with McCauley. It looks like someone's heading to pit road
That's
right there. It
Darcy
looks like
Ford
that's
headed into pit
Darcy
lane.
Ford. It is.
Yeah, it looks like he's ducked in ahead of the rest of that lead pack here, certainly, as McCauley remains out on track. And Jameson's headed in. That's what that duck down below the center, or that low white line means. That is the telltale that someone is coming in. So we are expecting Jameson to peel off. A couple more have peeled off there as well.
Or not.
Yeah, Jameson did stay out. Maybe he just got loose. I think Ty Higginbotham may have gone into pit lane ahead, though. I think I saw the orange off in the distance. And there we see a couple of guys going lower there. Again, I'm not sure if that's for position or if that's an indicator of heading into pit lane. And pit lane, it certainly looks like.
Sorry, guys.
And yeah, that was confirmation that Higginbotham went in. John Peden stays out.
7 exit.
And it looks like Peden's trying to make his way around. I think that's lap traffic there, and that might be John Peden coming into pit lane as well. And it's actually the hometown guy in the form of Brandon Reed who's there on track ahead of Peden, the Fort Worth, Texas native, as we see Peden in. I think that's McCauley in as well. I think that's Marini in behind them. So we're very much in that pit window now. As we'll bring it back onto the track. And again, Reggie Kime out there right now as we try to... And getting word, Corbin McCauley picks up a speeding penalty there in pit lane as Jameson
I think
and
that may have been on the
off.
entrance. That may have been on the entrance. I did notice that whenever Peden came in, he did have a little bit more of a smooth entry, but when Corbin came in, it was a little bit more closer in terms of like where it was on the turn. Like Peden entered a little bit early, but then McCauley had like quite the late entry there. So
Just hitting 85 is to the back of him. 97 got damaged.
And getting word here that there was an incident here involving, it sounds like Hunter Young and Kevin Daigle may have gotten tangled up. Certainly you see some damage to the front of the 85. And I thought I heard from Ty Higginbotham that he may have somehow gotten caught up in it, but I don't see any immediate damage to the 97. But let's just see as we make our way around to him. Yeah, it looks like the car held on. But certainly not what you'd want to see, and obviously that's just the first stage. I think things are just going to get tighter and tighter on the track. As Higginbotham tries to tuck in behind, I think that's Jacob Nelson up ahead. And hopefully we'll have some revised standings here for you once everyone kind of sorts or cycles through this pit window. And it looks like that is actually, I think, based on what I'm seeing, I think the undercut may have worked out in Darcy Ford's favor, as it looks like he's come out ahead of Higginbotham and just behind Jacob Nelson. So Darcy Ford, I think he may have gotten the strategy right here in the opening stage. Whether or not it got him right to the top of the field, I don't believe it did, because it looks like Mercado's a bit further ahead. But certainly it looks like he's gained a couple of positions out of it.
I mean, we saw him making some pretty good maneuvers earlier in the stage, going through the top 10 there. So maybe tonight's his night. Maybe this will be it. Maybe what I was saying earlier actually ended up working out, although maybe saying it a second time, maybe it causes a jinx. But let's hope that doesn't happen. So, but yeah, maybe this is Darcy Ford's night, perhaps. Maybe.
Well,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Again, we got a long way to go until we actually find out, but certainly this looks like the battle for 2, 3, and 4 on the track right now. Jacob Nelson holding the position. There's Jose Mercado just going by. I believe he's still the race leader. He's led pretty well since the green flag dropped. So Nelson second, Ford in third, Higginbotham in fourth is what I'm seeing. Again, I could be wrong on that, but that is how I believe this is playing out here. As we'll bring it back to Leo Jamieson here. Looks like he's kind of off on his own. He was one of the later guys to stop, but obviously we talked a little bit earlier, Riggs, about the impact of tire wear, especially at a place like Texas with the guaranteed green flag pit stops. So the later pit stop, he may well have the fresher tires at the end of the stage.
I mean, that's quite literally every strategy in all these long races with these eventual green flag pit stops. It's Jameson has always implemented. So you're getting the information there from the Discord, obviously.
9 seconds.
Yes. So.
97 4, 53 fifth.
And so.
Looks like a 12 and 6.
Can confirm Jose Mercado's still your leader. Coming around to the start-finish line, I think it's 14 to go now in the stage. And yeah, I don't have the headphones that I usually have in, so you're able to kind of hear the Discord in real time as well. So my apologies for that, cutting off your point there, Riggs. We were talking about tire wear and the impact of the later stops potentially.
Oh no, it's completely okay. That information's pretty valuable to how we run things here, so it's completely all good. But like I was saying earlier, obviously, yes, it seems like every single race where we've had this situation with like long stage lengths and these green flag pit stops, Leo Jameson is the guy that always seems to have that strategy where he comes in like a little bit later to try and get those slightly fresher tires than everyone else, and then he just zooms right through the whole field and manages to somehow get up there at least most of the time. I mean, that's what we saw at Charlotte. I mean, for that endurance of a race, I think it was 300 miles, and then this one's like 250. So it's kind of an endurance race, kind of also as well. Not really as close as tracks like Charlotte or Gateway in a sense, but it's still definitely a long one. And like the big question will be here is it going to happen again? Will Jameson be able to prevail on that strategy again? We'll have to see here if he does end up maneuvering through the different cars here as we come to the ending of the stage here. And I think we might see him in the background. I'm trying to see if I can see his colors. Probably, I don't know. I think I might be wrong. I can't exactly tell.
Oh, while we were about to go, we can certainly see some damage to the front of the 18 of Mike Nickens, who started in second tonight. Not quite sure how that went down, but certainly understandable as to why he's maybe not part of that lead pack right now. Kind of running his own race. We'll have to get to the bottom of that one as the evening progresses. Meanwhile, Jacob Nelson, he's very much part of that chase pack here. He's in second place trying to reel in Jose Mercado. And there you see the gap on track, as it's Nelson second, Pete in third, Ford in fourth, and I think Ty Higginbotham rounds out the top 5. And we're coming on 9 to go.
9 second, 53 at the third, 54 fourth, 97 fifth.
And there's just the confirmation of the order that I just gave. Again, Mercado, he's effectively led wire to wire at this stage.
They're catching up to him.
Yeah, and here's John Peden making the move on the inside of Jacob Nelson. It looks like he might get pushed up high here a little bit. He loses at least one position. Darcy Ford might make him try and lose one more, but it looks like Nelson tucks in on the inside to hold on to third. And again, this is your top 5 coming up on 8 remaining here in the stage. There they go. And yeah, Mercado still holding on to that lead. Nelson again pushed up high. And Ford looks like he's going to get the position. Just gets that nose basically in front of Jacob Nelson as he tries to tuck back in. And we'll see if Ty Higginbotham tries a similar procedure to try and grab 4th place. And there he goes on the inside. But Nelson's there for the block. 7 to go in the stage. And now that we kind of got things sorted out, some pretty good racing up here, especially within this top 5.
Well, yeah, it's looking like Peden's getting up there. He might try to continue that all-time stage win record or whatever that you mentioned back a little bit ago. So he's right there on his bumper. He's looking.
Yeah, it would be stage win number 20 if Jonathan Peden can pull it out. And with, did I say 7 laps to go or 8 laps? I think it's 6 remaining now in the stage. Peden having a first look on the inside. And I think he only needed the one shot. He's got the move and he's got the lead.
Wow, cleared him. He cleared him perfectly.
And yeah, pretty clean there, it has to be said, between the two Florida guys. And I think we're coming up on 5 to go here in the stage. And now we'll see what kind of a response Jose Mercado has for Jonathan Peden. Obviously, that extra playoff point would prove valuable. And let's just see here. Again, it's Peden, your new leader. Mercado up there in second. Darcy Ford in third. As we're coming to 4 laps remaining in the stage. And both Peden and Mercado taking very similar lines here. Obviously very familiar with one another as drivers, so one can almost telegraph the move the other makes. As I think Mercado may have had a thought of going down low, but instead just kind of tucks back in, and that's going to give Jonathan Peden a little bit more breathing room. Meanwhile, I thought Jacob Nelson might have gotten ahead of Darcy Ford there, but it looks like they remain third for Ford and fourth for Nelson, respectively. And indeed they do. And, I'm not sure. Did Ford just get into the wall there? Or was that, again, maybe just a glitch? Well, maybe not. It looks like he did lose a couple of positions.
Oh, no, he definitely got in the wall.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if my eyes were just playing tricks on me or what was going on, as I think we've got 2 to go now in the stage. And again, Jonathan Peden continues to lead the way. Jose Mercado in second. And now Jacob Nelson's moved up into third. With, I think, Higginbotham moved into fourth there. Oh, no, he didn't. Darcy Ford maintained fourth. Higginbotham's still in fifth. And it effectively looks like a 2-horse race here at the end of the stage. Final lap of the opening stage is right now. And Mercado going for the dive
here he comes.
inside.
To the inside.
This is how Peden got Mercado a few laps ago, and Jose Mercado, it looks like he
still side by side.
He might be returning the favor here, and he'll have the inside line through turns 3 and 4. They're going to be door to door at the line. And Mercado with that run off the inside.
Does Mercado benefit?
And lap traffic there,
they're banging.
And Mercado's going to get the stage. Certainly made it interesting there at the very end.
Peden was door slamming him coming on the outside there, coming off of turn 4, which definitely gave Mercado the advantage. But yeah, Mercado plus 10 on the playoff grid heading into the race. This will definitely help him in gaining some good points over the playoff cut line there. And obviously Peden will still probably be good. So.
And yeah, we'll get the official confirmation on the points here in relatively short order, just awaiting that message. I heard a little bit from the Discord chatter there, which you might have heard in the background as well. But yeah, just to get the official confirmation here on the stage, which is, of course, now complete. It is Jose Mercado picking up the stage victory. Jonathan Peden second. Jacob Nelson third. Darcy Ford in fourth. Ty Higginbotham rounds out the top 5. Leo Jamieson comes home in 6th. Mike Marini grabs 7th. Those are 4 valuable points for him. Reggie Kime in 8th. Tom Janikowski 9th. Travis Tyson rounds out the top 10, as it looks like we are set to go racing here once again. Stage 2 underway now in tonight's Summerside Toyota 250. 49 laps this time around. And so again, we're looking at another guaranteed green flag pit stop here. as Mercado leads them off the line. And it looks like Nelson's moved up into second pretty well straight away. And Peden third, Jameson fourth. Looks like Darcy Ford rounds out the top 5 with Marini in sixth. And again, it looks like they're off the line relatively cleanly here. And top 8 or 9, as you saw in stage 1 there, Riggs, relatively single file here in the opening lap or 2 of this middle stage.
Well, yeah, it's only the first couple laps. Drivers will just want to, like usual, just try and count the laps down. But again, though, there still could be some occasional moments of drivers getting side by side. Maybe the occasional driver will end up going low or high at any random point. But yeah, just winding the laps down, plain and simple.
And let's just see again, it's relatively straightforward start here as we check in on Mike Nickens, maybe a little bit further back than he would have liked. Of course, he started in second tonight, but now finds himself tucked in behind Ty Higginbotham with Tom Janikowski. I nearly got those two names put together, as again, he's a little bit further down the field than maybe he would have expected to this point. Obviously, we saw the damage to the front of that number 18 in the early going as well. As we'll bring it up, I think, a little bit closer to the front of the field, matter of fact, all the way up to second place, where we find Jacob Nelson, Clarksville, Tennessee native, still looking for his first win of the season too. And, you know, he's a guy who's going to be kind of chomping at the bit here to try and book his place into the round of 8, because, again, he's very much in that kind of bubble discussion as well. And, of course, he's gone ahead and seen his teammates Jose Mercado and Mike Nickens each pick up a race win already this year. You know, he's kind of the odd man out right now on that GTR side. So you got to think he's got to be wanting one of these here sooner or later. As it looks like we got a top 5 of Mercado, Nelson, Peden, Ford, and Marini right now. And again, Riggs, we got a few guys there that we've talked about a little bit, just kind of being right around that cut line here to begin the round of 12. So encouraging early returns from a couple of these drivers in particular.
Well, yeah, it's just the same old guys from the start of the first stage, so no surprise there at all. But yeah, guys like Jacob Nelson, Darcy Ford, they're the guys that are, you would think they'd be higher, maybe based on points, but again, we don't have as many drivers now because we're eliminating them all. So yeah, it's only +6 and +4 respectively for Nelson and Ford. So they're gonna, they want to get those points that the best points that they possibly can. I mean, Nelson was able to get, I believe it was third in the first stage, and then Darcy Ford got fourth. So they're definitely benefiting off those stage points and getting themselves up the grid, while other guys you see like on the towards the cut line, like Kime and Marini. Although Mike Marini actually did end up finishing 7th in the stage, that definitely will put him most likely over the cut line. But like you see guys like Macaulay, Drew, and Janikowski still kind of a bit stuck there, although Macaulay was hit with a speeding penalty, so there's still plenty of time for him to rebound as this race goes on. There's still plenty of time, and like I think I was like looking towards the back of the field there occasionally, and Macaulay is definitely trying to get his way up to the front, passing everyone. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe a green flag pit strategy could seriously help him in gaining a couple spots, maybe in like the lower ends of the top 10 as we get to the end of this second stage.
And yeah, we'll definitely chart that progress as we go along here, as we try to find Leo Jameson on the track here somewhere. There he goes. And it looks like the 94, he's got some company there in the form of Ty Higginbotham and Mike Nickens. That'd be 6, 7, and 8 you're seeing on track. Jameson leading that particular train in 6th place. And he's a guy who came in 25 points above the cut line. Again, grabbed another 5 points in stage 1 here tonight to definitely help his cause out. And again, feeling probably comfortable, but you know, he'd love to try and grab a couple more places here if he could. And obviously still a long way to go too. As we'll go ahead and check in now on Mike Marini as we bring it back up to the top 5. Or it might actually be a top 4. It looks like Jonathan Pedon's kind of fallen off the pace there a little bit. Yeah, it's a top 4 of Mercado leading, Darcy Ford in 2nd, Jacob Nelson up high there in 3rd, Mike Marini 4th, although he might try and have a go at Nelson here. But Nelson just tucks in on that low line instead, and guess who's joined the party again? Jonathan Pedon in 5th. So as soon as we think he's out, it's almost like he's hearing what we're saying here, and he just makes that gap up right away. And look at that, he's right on the back of the 12 almost.
Just a massive psych, basically.
Pretty much.
You'll think you think he's out, he's still in.
Yeah, I mean, like, not quite Godfather or Seinfeld-esque, but, you know, certainly along those lines, like a gator, for lack of a better term, patiently waiting to strike. And it looks like Marini's holding on. Here again, you got your top 5 with just a little bit of separation, although I'm sure Leo Jameson's trying to drag that trio that he's at the head of, trying to drag them up to that lead group as well. Make her a little more competitive at the head of the field, which is now headed by Darcy Ford as Mercado goes up high. Ford gets a bit of a push from Nelson, and Darcy Ford's your race leader. How long that lasts remains to be seen.
I was saying that earlier. He showed momentum in the first stage, and now look at this. He's now leading this second stage. Only thing is, though, like the only question is, will he be able to keep this up?
Again, still a very long way to go, and it bears asking in Mercado's case. Obviously, he led a lot of laps here, or he has led a lot of laps. Maybe he's just content to slip back a couple of places, maybe conserve a little bit of fuel strategy-wise here, because again, everybody has to come in for a green flag stop regardless. As it looks like, as we're watching Ty Higginbotham here, that 6, 7, and 8 group, they are just about at the back of that lead group of 5. So we may have ourselves an 8-person shootout here in the kind of early part of this second stage. It looks like Higginbotham's basically pushing Jameson right up to that top 5. And Mike Nickens is hanging around there as well. So it is very much a lead group of 8. And let's just see here. Meanwhile, Reggie Kime very much kind of running his own race right now. I think he's back in 9th. And again, kind of running on his own right now. Not really close enough to that lead group, but has some distance between himself and that secondary group, which it looks like is headed by Corbin McCauley, unless I have my colors wrong. But for now, we'll bring it back up to the lead group. Jonathan Pedon running in 5th place. Darcy Ford continues to lead this one, as there are things were getting a little bit dusty there, but everybody hanging on. Looks like Marini's the odd man out on that high line, so it looks like he'll tuck back down into about 7th or 8th.
I feel like every race at like a big track in particular, especially like I felt this in Michigan too. I was just waiting for that. I mean, we did see a big wreck early in Michigan, but like I swear whenever there's all these like a lot of cars in the lead pack there with all like the good, I guess you could say the good guys and stuff, the top guys, I feel like I always had this feeling like I'm just waiting for some like massive wreck to happen just out of complete nowhere. I mean, it's not surprising, it's the playoffs, anything could happen here, but it's just like you must relate that feeling kind of just gets there, especially with how dicey they occasionally get. We saw that there. I thought they were gonna get something going. So,
meanwhile, Jacob Nelson looking to get something going here. He's got the inside line on Darcy Ford, looking to try and grab the lead. And it looks like the 9's going to have that momentum out of the corner, along with a bit of a push from his teammate Mercado there too. And just like that, Jacob Nelson is your new race leader. Ford still up on that high line. Again, maybe content to drop back a little bit here, as he'll fall back into 5th. Meanwhile, somebody threw the grass there. I think that's Hagen. No, I think that's Nickens. It was a red front there, not
Nickens.
Orange.
That is Mike Nickens by the looks of it.
Yeah, can definitely confirm that here now, as I just saw the 18 there in the background. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of a snap of getting loose out of turn 4. Sends Nickens through the infield, and again, he was toward the back of that lead pack anyway. But only further reinforcing that is Higginbotham puts a couple wheels into the infield. I mean, there's tight lines, and then there's maybe overcooking it just a little bit. Kind of playing with fire here a little bit, Reeves.
I had that. I mentioned that I mentioned that feeling earlier, and now there's already been a car fully through the grass, and the car just barely touching the grass. What's next?
I don't know if I want to know, so maybe we don't ask the question. Maybe we just let him race here, as looks like Jacob Nelson maintains the lead. Leo Jameson moves up into 2nd. Just trying to do a little bit of spotting there, and indeed, Mercado 3rd. Higginbotham 4th, Ford in 5th. Pete in 6th, Mike Marini hanging around there in 7th as well. As we'll check in on Bob Drew the 3rd. Oh, was that a disconnection for the 6? I don't see any movement there, and it looks like a strange time for a pit stop. If that's the case, then...
Oh, that's huge. That is huge.
That puts the number 6 into a must-win situation next week, if that happens to be the case, as Dan Mattiello comes into pit lane. Mattiello just eliminated
I can only imagine there's one driver in particular that might be on a certain side if they were to be made aware of that news. So, and oh my goodness, Mattiello, game physics. Something happened.
That's what we're calling that. As we are seeing some pit stops here, Andy Hurdle coming out, Tom Janikowski making his way out too. Looks like Jonathan Warr making his way out there as well. As we'll take a little tour through the field here. We're getting our first real look at our best of the rest leader, Hunter Young, here now in the number 20 out of St. Catharines, Ontario. And again, he's turned in a few pretty good races here as of late, has the number 20. Just didn't quite get it together in enough time before the playoffs started, really. And speaking of, I think our leaders may have actually made some pit stops. I think that was Darcy Ford coming out as we saw Hunter Young going by. And I think Young may have just pulled off the cue to go into pit lane there as well, as we check in on the number 7 of Andy Hurdle.
Jacob got loose out of 4 and just spun out. I don't know who all else is collected.
And
97 and 94.
Oh my.
Yeah, sounds like we may have kind of missed something there as we were trying to go through the field. Sounds like Jacob Nelson might have gotten loose through turn 4. Sounds like a couple of cars may have been impacted here, as we see Darcy Ford and Mike Nickens battling it out here on track.
The feeling from earlier is coming true. What have I done?
Well, what you've done is learned about the thing called the broadcaster's jinx, which again has come up a couple of times over the course of the year. Certainly not the kind of thing you want to see at playoff time, as that's Higginbotham coming out of pit lane. And again, we're very much in that second green flag pit window here now. And we're just kind of in limbo here as we try to figure out who is where. Again, for those who might be watching us for the first time, we do not have the benefit of a real-time leaderboard here on the NASCAR Heat side of things. Riggs, we're only a few weeks away from Formula One, where we're going to have all that stuff and more.
come. I don't know if I should stay professional and just be like, hey, just let this ride out, or I should be like, please come quicker, please come quicker, please come quicker.
Information overload, we'll call it.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll certainly see how that goes. I think that's Mercado maybe coming out of pit lane. Not 100% sure. Might have been Daigle there as well. Hard to tell. It was a gray back. Couldn't see the side though. And again, we'll do our best to try and get some info as we go along. But again, it looks like we're just coming up to the end of that green flag pit window here in stage 2. And speaking of pit stops, I'm just going to go back to Bob Drew III just for a second here, just to see. And yeah, he's still in pit lane. That is absolutely a disconnection. So as you say, like, that's huge. And yeah, that puts the 6 pretty much in a must-win situation next week at Bristol. Not the greatest place to need a victory.
Yeah, it's Bristol. Anything could happen.
Like
though.
The 18th.
Indeed so, as this is our lead battle, as a matter of fact, we're watching, as just got that word from the Discord chat. Darcy Ford is your race leader. Mike Nickens in second, coming up on, I believe, 17 laps to go here in the stage.
That wreck must have really caused some drivers to go through trouble, though, because look at the separation in comparison to what we had in the first stage. Jeez.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely time here to see, who's going to potentially catch up, as I think that's Mercado and Higginbotham behind, battling for third and fourth. But again, this is your lead battle here on track. Oh, Nickens with a little bit of lag there. Or again, it might have been just my spectator view as well. Either way, Darcy Ford remains in the lead. As it looks like he's
just past 12 for 5th.
Taking it pretty cleanly there. Meanwhile, getting word Leo Jameson just passed Mike Marini to move up into the top 5 again. But again, these battles are quite spread out here around Texas.
Yeah, I guess the realism from real life is kind of coming into shape there, because that's it seems to be pretty much what the real life All-Star race was whenever it was at Texas. I mean, it was a complete disaster of a race anyways. I mean, yeah, it's funny. I guess on a personal level, my favorite driver won twice. But I'm not gonna get into detail on that, because there's no point doing that. We're gonna stay nice about Texas, because it's totally good in this game. So,
I mean, it'd be easy and kind of shameless to drop a "Don't Mess with Texas" reference, but here we are, and we'll just continue along here as. Looks like Darcy Ford's continuing along here, but Jose Mercado's joined that lead duo. So it's now a 3-horse race as Mercado's left Higginbotham behind here. But that 97, he's going to look to try and figure into things. Mercado, in fact, just kind of bullying his way past Nickens into second. And Darcy Ford may be under attack sooner rather than later, as that 41's been fast all night.
Battle for the lead.
That is for the lead. I thought it was a lap car.
No, that's Mercado finding his way through, and he's found his way through on the inside line, I think. Yeah, Mercado's got the nose ahead. He's back to the top of the leaderboard here. 12 laps remaining in stage 2.
Tornado Alley is just not. I probably shouldn't be saying this right now, but I mean, right now at least, Tornado Alley is just not there. Like, I mean, Peden was there definitely in the first stage for second place, but like lead-wise per se, like in consistent pace, it's just been, oh boy.
Yeah, both. Yeah, Nickens got sideways. It sounds like Mercado might have gotten into the wall, and as a result, Darcy Ford is once again your race leader. Nickens in second. Higginbotham, there's one of those Tornado Alley guys you were just throwing under the bus. He's third. Actually moving up into second.
Maybe a bit. Well, maybe a better way to put it is that it's not like it's in all three Tornado Alley cars in a bunch, in a sense. It's more so like it's like one car every now and then. Stage 1 was basically Peden. Higginbottom was kind of up there, but it struggled a bit. Jameson was just all over the place, and now it's just Higginbottom now. I mean, I'll definitely bunch back up when this third and final stage does come around, but the Tornado Alley pace is just not there tonight so far. It's just not.
It's definitely not accustomed, or what we've been accustomed to seeing, as I think that was Keith Miller going through the infield ahead of this lead pack. So lap traffic could be coming into play here. Let's see how quickly they can clear the 44.
You might not want to do that in front of the lead cars.
Nine laps to go. They're either coming up on it or they have 9 laps to go. And yeah, there's some absolute blocking going on here. As Ford into the wall. That is some dirty pool there.
And I think I just heard a reaction from the other side of my wall here. I think that may just perfectly describe what just happened.
Yeah, I can confirm that because I heard it on the Discord too.
Oh,
and I mean, you saw it happen basically.
I feel like there's a bunch of things I want to say, but at the same time, I probably shouldn't, if that's fair to say.
I mean, the visuals are there. We were watching the whole thing basically as Mercado inherits the lead. As a result, Higginbotham now in second. Not sure where Darcy Ford wound up in the middle of all this, other than in the wall, unfortunately. Meanwhile, that's taken away some of the drama from this lead battle as it was starting to get 4 or 5 deep.
Sucks to say this, but it's 41 and 97 first and second.
But now, yeah, Mercado and Higginbotham 1-2.
6 to go.
Coming up on 5 laps remaining here in this second stage. And so, yeah, I mean, there really isn't much more to say. There was pretty clear cut. It has to be said, as now it's 5 remaining on the stage.
Higginbottom's about to completely destroy what I said earlier, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, if you listen to what the chatter was in the Discord, I don't know if he necessarily feels good about it here, as he's trying to find a way past Mercado.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me with the type of guy Higginbottom is, especially from the post-race interviews that we've had with him after he's won those 2 races this season. So, yeah, I don't blame him for that attitude. I don't blame him. It's a bit of a weird situation to try and talk about, especially from our perspective, but we kind of have to keep it a bit cool up here, so we'll keep it that way, obviously, because there's no point in trying to... And there's no room for any of those opinions or anything. Let the drivers settle that. So, I guess that's a bit of a professional tip I'll have right there, especially considering. I guess that kind of helps me out too, because first day of college was today, so I guess that helps.
Hey, I mean, it's a live example, right? Like,
yes.
One of the things you hear if you get into the sports side of thing as well is no cheering in the press box, as Mercado kind of takes a little bit of a dip into the wall. Just a little bit of a nudge there, and that allows Higginbotham to get right up onto the back. And we'll see what kind of a run Higginbotham gets out of 4. 2 remaining in stage 2. And you better believe we're going to keep it with this battle here as we finish up the stage. Mercado won stage 1, if you recall, and it was a late pass, just like the one Higginbotham's trying to make. Coming through 3 and 4. They're getting pretty tight here. These two were teammates last season, but very much on-track rivals now. They're basically dead heat here into the final lap of the stage, but Higginbotham, he's found his way past. So, Ty Higginbotham up into the lead with just a couple corners left in this stage. But you better believe Mercado's going to try a move here late.
It's the jinx. It happened.
And we'll see here.
Oh, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not.
Higginbotham holding on. Mercado, that's a brush into the wall. No. That should give Higginbotham the room.
No.
And there is the stage for the number 97 of Ty Higginbotham. As, again, it was Higginbotham and Mercado right at the line. And it's the 97 who ultimately pulls it out. Maybe not necessarily how he drew it up, but certainly it's 10 points for him.
Well, yeah, both stage finishes. We've seen cars all pretty much almost or exactly side by side coming to the line, although maybe with this second stage finish, it doesn't necessarily involve a driver that looked like he was completely on his way to a definitely well-needed stage victory. But now with what we witnessed just a couple minutes ago, yeah, I think I probably the people have their opinions. I don't. It doesn't need to be said. The opinions are out there. So,
and yeah, we do have the official top 10 in as we bring it out to our final caution of the evening before our final restart here. And again, it's 60 laps. Who's immediately into the grass? That's Mattiello right into the grass. As stage 3 is underway, and looks like lots of others went through the infield as well. Suffice to say, hardly through one corner here, and things are already more chaotic than
cars way up high in the back. Cars way up high in the back there.
Yeah.
Looks like they should be good now. Yeah, they're all good now, but that was, I guess, the way you could put it is NASCAR Heat 5. So, whatever that was.
One way to put it, certainly, here, as Higginbotham leads them off the line in stage 3 here. Mercado furiously charging up into second. And again, that 41 is looking fast here. But again, 60 laps here in this stage, and we've mentioned earlier, Reegs, 31 laps seems to be the fuel tank mileage here, so might have to do a little bit of saving here, or at least watch it very, very closely if you're some of these drivers vying for the W. And obviously still a fair bit of time between now and then, but definitely something where the calculations kind of have to start now as...
Oh, Mercado down low. On Higginbotham, he goes high.
You took the words out of my mouth here, partner, as Higginbotham does in fact go high. Nickens goes by too. And Higginbotham will drop down to third, so it looks like Tornado Alley 3, 4, 5 right now, with Peden in fourth, Jameson fifth. And speaking of standings, we'll go ahead and go through what the top 10 looked like. And again, we saw Ty Higginbotham win stage 2. Jose Mercado there in second. Mike Nickens third. Leo Jameson fourth. Darcy Ford, after that unfortunate incident, finished fifth. John Peden sixth. Mike Marini seventh. Corbin McCauley eighth, so big few points there for the 17. Andy Hurdle grabs a couple in ninth. And Tom Janikowski rounds out the top 10. As we bring it back trackside here. And now the man who started second, Mike Nickens, finds himself right back in that position. So after, maybe not the greatest of early portions of the race, the 18's finding himself right back in the thick of things, and he might be trying to move here on his teammate. But Mercado's going to not throw the block, just cover it off nicely.
Yeah, he started out the playoffs with terrific momentum there with that win in Michigan. So if with that momentum continuing on, it would not be surprising at all to see him potentially score a second win here very soon, whether it's tonight or it even could be in any of the next couple races. I mean, it's Texas. It's another intermediate. It's not Michigan, obviously, but I mean, the size-wise, I guess you could put it in a way it's kind of close in that sense. So, yeah, we could definitely see Nickens come through tonight. All the GTR cars have had speed, or maybe 2 of them, I can't recall, but yeah, all of them have had speed, so yeah, who knows.
And yeah, as you were talking there, it sounded like, and I may have missed it with my eyes there, but definitely a little bit of looseness toward the front of the field, as guys are just kind of hanging on here, just trying to steady the cars here in this final stage. As we'll move it along now to Jacob Nelson, who's at the tail of this lead pack. And that puts him in round about 9th or 10th. And Nelson, he's a guy that, again, he got collected in an incident there in stage 2. So he missed out on stage points after finishing 3rd in stage 1. So who knows, that could potentially come back to bite the 9. But we'll have to see how it shakes out for him. But again, it's been largely the same group of 8 or 9 drivers here over the course of the evening that have been in contention at one point or another.
Yeah, it's just the same drivers. No surprises at all. Darcy Ford is back up there, so maybe he'll be able to rebound after what happened in the second stage and possibly be able to go for that win this time. But Jose Mercado has had, like, that's been kind of the story that we had more so in the regular season, where Jose Mercado would qualify really well, maybe even score the pole, but the win just never transitioned to a checker, to being the first car to take the checker flag. But tonight, it looks like it might be that very clearly. He's definitely had the best speed out of any car tonight, so this could very well be another GTR win and in situation. Again, there's still time. We've had a couple broadcaster jinxes, so... But I feel like, okay, I'm going to be confident on this one. I will be confident on this one, although Darcy Ford, though, keep an eye on him still, because his speed through the past 2 stages here had been... like his momentum from being, like, let's say bottom of the top 10 towards the front of the field, it's been good, especially with green flag pit strategy, the green flag pit window as well. He's been able to benefit off of those as well. So it could be Mercado, it could be Ford. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point there on the green flag strategies here, though. We see Jameson trying to have a look in on Ford. That looks like 5, 6, 7, 8, that particular battle, which Mike Marini's at the back of. But just to go back to that Darcy Ford point for a second, you mentioned the green flag pit stops, and he was definitely on the undercut in the first 2 stages. 60 laps, does that potentially eliminate the possibility for that undercut? Because really, he's going to have to figure out how to get to the end here, and you'd have to think everyone's kind of coming in around the same time.
To be kind of honest, just wait and see, because that's pretty much what we've had to do that's what we've had to do every single race, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like, there might be strategies that are gonna it's hard to say. They may either benefit or we might get nothing, so yeah, who knows again.
Yeah, I can tell you, though, we got a lot of hungry drivers here, particularly 6, 7, 8. The aforementioned Ford, Marini and Nelson. Nelson now 6th. Because 6 through 8, they're, again, all drivers who are in and around the cut line right now. None of them have a win this season. And obviously, if one of them was to pick up a W here tonight, that kind of shifts the balance going into Bristol next week, where obviously you're going to be kind of white knuckling it as it is on the short track. As we'll go ahead and check on Ty Higginbotham now. This brings us back to the lead group. Jose Mercado there is your leader. Nickens in 2nd, Higginbotham 3rd, John Peden there in 4th, as it looks like someone just ahead may have gone through the infield. But again, fairly close quarters here on the track. Leo Jameson kind of running his own race there in 5th. Again, not really close enough to that lead pack to threaten right now, but with a little bit of a gap to that 6, 7, 8 group I was just talking about. As they come through turns 3 and 4 to complete another lap, we will go ahead and send it to Reggie Kime, who, I don't know if you were seeing it in the Facebook chat. It sounds like he and the 20 of Hunter Young may have gotten into something in stage 2. Didn't see it on our streams, of course, but you know, that's something to maybe pay attention to if those two cars happen to get into close proximity again. Kime, of course, the man on the bubble going into tonight's race, whereas Young was leading the best of the rest competition. But again, that's something to monitor as we move forward. And we'll go ahead and move forward again back to this lead group, which it looks like we've got a pack of 8 here once again. It looks like that secondary group is caught up. And it's Mercado, Higginbotham, Peden, your top 3, Jameson 4th. And Nickens looks like he put wheels in the infield there.
Again. Almost again.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times now. But it looks like he holds on to the position for now. Nelson 6th, Marini 7th, Darcy Ford in 8th. As Marini goes a little high there. I'm not sure if Ford maybe got him a little loose. But it certainly looks like, yeah, Ford's gotten the position, so he's up into 7th. As, a little bit of contact there. Macaulay and Mattiello coming together.
Oh, no.
As Macaulay's going to take a run through the infield. And he's going to hold on to that 17. And again, he's a guy who needs some stuff to kind of work out for him. Not just tonight, but especially next week at Bristol, if he wants to advance.
Well, he was able to get a couple stage points there with his 8th place finish in the 2nd stage, so maybe he might be able to benefit off a potential the Reggie Kime situation, although Mike Marini has gotten a lot of good points from the first 2 stages combined, so it's going to be very close whenever we get to the end of this race, as long as nothing else major happens, especially with, I would say, guys like maybe like Nelson, Ford. Yeah.
Well, you speak of Darcy Ford. Here he is. Mike Marini trying to give him a push to get to that lead group. This is 7 and 8 you're seeing on track. And again, we saw it through stage 2. Darcy Ford, he can be competitive here, and he's made the right strategic calls here to push himself up the field. Just obviously that unfortunate incident in stage 2 didn't help his cause. But again, it looks like he's just kind of holding on to the back as they're coming up. That lead group's coming up on Jason Butler, lap traffic. And good communication in the Discord race chat allows Butler to go high. And that's going to allow the lead pack to get through. As we'll go back to that aforementioned lead group. And, somebody into the wall. I think that's Nickens who was kind of riding up high there. Meanwhile, Mercado holds the lead. Higginbotham 2nd. Peden 3rd. Jameson in 4th. 5th place, Jacob Nelson.
Nickens has been all over the place in this stage so far. That's if he wants to keep it stable on the playoff grid, especially, he remains currently 13 points above, which isn't too bad. But he still wants to finish. He'll still want to finish decent. So hopefully things get better. But a little bit of a wobbly one so far.
Meanwhile, it looks like the rest of that lead pack has gotten past the lap traffic in the form of Jason Butler there, so it looks like everyone's gotten through safely this time around. As again, now we got a couple of little fractures here, a lead group of 5, and then you got Nickens, Ford, and Marini trying to track them down. As Nelson gets slightly offline there out of turn 4, but it looks like he's going to hang on to that pack. And now Nickens and Ford trying to work their way up, and Marini trying to stay within shouting distance himself. As they come through to complete another lap. And here they are out of 4. Pretty well all taking the same line. Again, a lot of familiarity within the drivers, especially in that lead pack. So not a whole lot of surprises in terms of racing strategy, and pretty well everyone holding serve here coming out of turn 2. Mercado continues to lead. Meanwhile, we'll go back to that secondary group here, or we'll briefly check in on Corbin McCauley kind of running his own race here right now. Not within striking distance of that lead group right now. But, yeah, just not quite having the night he would have envisioned after the top 10 starting position he did have. As we'll, there we go, bring it back to Darcy Ford. Trying to give Mike Nickens a little bit of a push here. That's 6 and 7 you're seeing on track. $31 to go. So this is kind of the inflection point here, you'd have to think, for pit stops. Pretty well here on in, you can make it to the end, but now the question becomes tires. It looks like Mercado's coming in. Let's see what we've got here strategy-wise.
I believe you did say it was about 30 laps or so on the tank. So there comes 2 cars. Okay, there's
Ford
a little bit of trouble.
I think Darcy Ford may have wanted to come in, just kind of got hung up high. And that could do some damage to his race here. Meanwhile, back at the head of the field, it looks like Ty Higginbotham has assumed the lead. It looks like Mercado has come in. Peden there in second, Jameson third. And I'm not sure who that was crawling into pit lane. But I can tell you this group's staying out a little while longer. Just looking for that tire advantage at the end here. There's about a 2-lap window that'll kind of work here, it looks like. Unless, again, fuel-saving strategies are deployed. It looks like Jameson's coming in this lap. Just based on, again, that little dip to the low side of the track. Higginbotham and Peden stay out. And let's just see here. Marini's in pit lane. Jameson's just gone into pit lane. And yeah, Higginbotham and Peden running together here. It sounds like Higginbotham's coming in this lap. And I think Peden maybe as well. There's both of them dipping kind of low. And I think they'll have the fresher tires here at the end. As you see Mercado just going through on the screen ahead. And yeah, both Higginbotham and Peden headed into pit lane. This is kind of the final go of it here. As we bring it back out to tonight's pole sitter, Jose Mercado, who I think is probably going to take the lead once again in tonight's Summerside Toyota 250. He's kind of riding solo here on track as he goes through to complete another lap. And couldn't quite see who that was coming out. But yeah, it looks like Mercado's gotten out ahead of Higginbotham and Peden here. Just got the word that the 97 was making his way out. And there you see Mercado already through turns 3 and soon to be through 4. And so we'd have to expect, Reegs, that kind of lead group will bunch up one more time here for a bit of a sprint to the finish, because we've had a couple of eventful finishes to this point. Why not have it, especially with a win at stake?
Well, yeah, maybe this time around the cars we'll be able to have a clean side-by-side to the end without someone getting in the wall or anything, actually be able to get a full finish, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see how this goes. That's pretty much just been the saying through every single race that we've had here. But yeah, Jose Mercado just continues to have that speed that he's had ever since he scored that terrific pole time, just barely over Mike Nickens. So it just, other than the Jonathan Peden win at Watkins Glen, like it just seems like GTR is starting to crawl their way back up to potentially being the new glorious team in a sense. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of finding it when they need to. Here, of course, as you mentioned earlier, that Nickens win at Michigan, second one on the GTR side, and then Peden last week for Tornado Alley, kind of splitting it down the middle between those two teams as it stands right now. But again, we'll have to see how the rest of this race will go. We're coming up on about 25 laps remaining. Might even be less than that at this point, because they've been ticking by pretty quickly, it has to be said. As we'll try and find a little bit of competition here. I think we may have just found a big block of it. As someone, I think that may have been Jameson that time around, put a couple of wheels into the infield. But this looks like the majority of that kind of lead group, or the secondary lead group, I should say. As you see, Nelson, Higginbotham, Peden, Jameson, and Nickens right at the back of that field. And notably, they've all cleared Keith Miller this time around. As we'll go now to Jacob Nelson. We're staying with that secondary group. Again, we're operating under the assumption that Jose Mercado's still leading this race. This could very well be, though, the lead pack of 5. Not 100% sure how the pit stops have went. Haven't heard an official update as of yet. Might get something in the next few laps to kind of sort things out a little bit. Always a little bit difficult in this particular game to sort things out after a pit cycle.
Oh yeah, that's what we were saying about. That's what you're saying about getting into Formula One soon. But yeah, the pack here is making me question if Mercado is the leader. How far ahead is he?
I mean, we did see him come in earlier than everybody else, and I think he did come in from the lead. So again, that undercut or whatever might be proven to be pretty powerful here. Okay. All right, so this is actually your lead group, so Mercado is not leading.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a shocker.
It is a little bit. Not 100% sure what went down there, but certainly we can tell you this is your lead group of 5. As I think Higginbotham said it was 20 to go at the line, now 19, I believe. And so, Jacob Nelson at the back of that group in 5th. We'll stay with that lead group right now. And, hey, what do you know? It's Tornado Alley 1, 2, 3. Higginbotham first,
I need to
Peden second, Jameson third.
I need to shut my mouth from now on. Oh, my Lord.
I mean, you wouldn't be doing your commentary job if you did that, but that's how that goes as they complete another lap. Nickens 4th, Nelson rounding out that top 5. As we'll check in on Mike Marini, who seems to have kind of gotten into no man's land a little bit. Well, there's Darcy Ford, certainly. Those two have been battling throughout the evening. And typically it's been for around 7th or 8th, but again, not 100% sure on the positioning right this second. Again, we know Ford, I think, was trying to come in with Mercado, but ultimately lost a lot of momentum out of turn 4 going through the infield. And again, that may have compromised his final stage, but still, 15 to 20 laps remaining. Potentially time, but you got to kind of get a move on. If you want to catch this group, which is headed by Ty Higginbotham right now as they come to the line again. And again, it's Higginbotham leading, Peden second, Jameson in 3rd. And that is Nickens 4th, Nelson 5th. So no real changes in the top 5. And again, Nelson, he might be the guy to be a catalyst for something dramatic here in the final stages if he can stay within shouting distance. Again, he's the one guy in that group who doesn't have a win yet this year. And if he happens to pick it up here tonight, he could, well, he would definitely shake things up a little bit standings-wise. Put a little more pressure on those guys around the cut line. As, again, it looks like the top 5 are relatively holding station here. As, Higginbotham going a little high. Is that going to give Peden an opening here? No, it is not. Just yet, anyway. But I think I saw the method to Jonathan Peden's madness there a little bit. Going to try and push the 97 up high a little bit, as I think that was just a game glitch. And now they're coming up on lap traffic. Someone through the infield. And yeah, that's Mike Nickens taking another trip through that sweet Texas grass. So that's going to make it a lead group of 4 here now.
That's 3 times now. That's not what I can't think of the term. I can't think of the term good, I guess.
I mean, it's not usually a
ever.
recipe for success, but I mean, he's been there. Like, toward the end of the stages, he's found his way there.
Oh, here comes the Tornado Alley breakup. Jameson gets broken up. Jameson gets broken up. It's now Jacob Nelson in the 3rd place. Maybe he's trying to figure out a way to surge through here, and it looks like it's so far. Still time, though, to figure things out.
And they've all safely made their way past Jonathan War. But as I was about to say that, it looked like Peden may have gotten a little bit off his usual line there. Higginbotham continues to lead. Peden 2nd. Although Jacob Nelson might have something to say about that here shortly. Although he still runs 3rd. Jameson there in 4th. And Higginbotham still keeping that line. A little bit of a run through the grass. 10 laps to go. Ty Higginbotham holding on to that lead right now.
9 3rd, 94 4th, 18 5th, 18 is 2 seconds back.
And yeah, just confirming that order that we gave you before. It is, this is still your top 4. Mike Nickens still in the top 5, albeit a couple seconds back now. Kind of falling off the pace here late, as we're down to 9 remaining. Higginbotham doing a great job, it has to be said, of holding that inside line. As, Jonathan Peden's going to start sniffing around here in a few laps' time, trying to go back-to-back.
Jameson now takes 3rd place back on Jacob Nelson, so the Tornado Alley guys will get back together once again.
Yeah, unless Nelson has something to say about it. He did go high there. 8 laps to go now. But Higginbotham's holding on here, looking like he's not, at least he's holding his confidence pretty well on that wheel, it has to be said. Obviously, he's been in a number of these close races, and he's come through a couple of times. But obviously, it would be big for him if he was able to do it tonight. As Peden's again starting to look around, 7 to go. Higginbotham holding on. Peden 2nd, Jameson 3rd, Nelson in 4th. And again, a little bit of separation to find Mike Nickens there rounding out the top 5. And a couple of lines forming here. Peden trying to go high. As Higginbotham's going to hold on here for now. 6 to go. Jameson, though, might get a push from Nelson. Might have a lead change here shortly, but Higginbotham dives to that inside line. Good defensive maneuver there from the 97. Now Jameson into second. Nelson third, Peden fourth. Tornado Alley's trio broken up again briefly. As now Higginbotham goes high. I wonder if thought that was going to give Jameson a lane there, and it still might. 4 to go. But Higginbotham's still holding on here. And Jacob Nelson trying to find a way past Jameson here for second. And again, Jacob Nelson, you have to think, is the hungriest guy of that bunch. No wins yet this season. But Higginbotham holding on. Meanwhile, Nelson trying to go up high on Jameson. But Leo's going to block it off. They're door to door. I think we're 4 to go now. And Jameson holding on to that lower line. Higginbotham still leads. Jameson second. Jameson, he telegraphed that Jacob Nelson dive.
Nelson tried to dive there on the backstretch, but Jameson said no to that, and they were able to keep it clean somehow there.
Yeah,
Higginbotham's still holding on.
I think he saw it from a mile away. 3 to go now. Higginbotham's still holding on, but the pressure's just getting that much tighter here. Nelson might have a good run on the inside. But he's unable to get beyond Jameson here. As I'll just listen for the official lap count. I think it's 2 to go at the line.
Oh! He's there! He is low!
And that was a touch.
Almost 3!
Jameson trying to get inside. Higginbotham somehow holding on.
He still has it. Wow.
This is a defensive clinic here from Ty Higginbotham, as somehow he's held off this trio of absolutely incredible drivers, and he's going to see the white flag this time around.
It's on ice skates at the moment.
And I'm hearing Higginbotham describe his car as being on ice skates, and there I think you may have just seen an example, actually. That may have actually been Nelson
Jameson
going through the grass.
Way up high.
Final lap of tonight's Summerside Toyota 250. They're still going here. Higginbotham holding on. Nelson up into second. Jameson third. I don't know if Nelson's going to have enough track to try and make a run here. Higginbotham holding on through 4. And there's the checkered flag. Ty Higginbotham, absolute defensive wizard here, holding on in the last 10 to 15 laps. He picks up tonight's Summerside Toyota 250.
Bit of a kind of a surprise there, because we were seeing earlier in the race like Jose Mercado and Darcy Ford were the guys that seemed to have the best pace there, but nope, it ended up being a Tornado Alley car, despite all those times I was talking like it just doesn't seem like Tornado Alley has anything. But of course, the Tornado Alley car still ends up getting the win. What else do you expect? And are you doing okay right now? Or I can hear
I am absolutely fine.
Wailing back there.
Yeah, I'm good. Maybe not quite as good as the 97 right now after picking up victory number 3.